It's probably news to very few people at this point that Channel 4 did a hit piece on reform the other day for the purposes of dissuading people from voting for them, which probably didn't go quite as they were planning, although not necessarily for the reasons that people think. I'm going to play the opening few seconds here with all the Channel 4 beeps removed, which also removes those little bits of the footage that they are just too annoying to put up with.
We've gone undercover inside Nigel Farage's Reform UK campaign in Clacton, and we recorded extremely offensive language, including this canvasser saying people seeking asylum should be shot.
Get the young recruits there, with guns on the beach, target practice, to shoot them.
And over the next few minutes we get a ranting cross between Alf Garnett and Bernard Manning, all of which I will play in a few minutes' time. And then, after the inevitable media meltdown, we get the wonderful plot twist that this was actually an actor called Andrew Parker. That is him there. He mentions the villain and mafia types which I get offered often. I am used to speaking parts, and he's got some videos up, one presentation video and one he calls rough speaking, which he probably uses for the villain and mafia types he apparently plays. Quite a lot has been made of this. Is he a Channel 4 stooge who's been brought in to impersonate Alf Garnett on steroids with all the usual stereotypical language in order to smear reform? Or is all that just a coincidence? Is he in fact an actor who happens to support reform? So this is the normal voice of his presentation video.
Hello, my name's Andrew Park. I'm an extremely experienced actor. I've been in plenty of films. I've worked with quite a lot of A-listed actors. I've done a lot in Pinewood Studios, a lot in Warner Brothers. I've also been flown over to Serbia to be involved as a character in a video game. I've done Virgin Train adverts and many more. Perhaps you'd like to give me a ring or give me a try. Thank you.
It's been suggested that he's really very well spoken in his normal life, to contrast it from his rough speaking voice, which I'm going to play in a second. It's really quite a regional accent that he's got here. It's absolutely not Queen's English, and I'm not saying that to malign him. I've got a reason for saying it. So this is now his so-called rough speaking voice.
If I had my way, this lot would be out of here, I'm telling you. Absolute waste of drinking space. The whole lot of them think they're some sort of Brad Pitt or they're doing some big movie scene somewhere. Most of them wouldn't be good enough at the church nativity play. Wasting my time, wasting everyone's time. It's about time they got themselves off their arses and done a proper bloody job.
What characterises that, to briefly go all My Fair Lady for a minute, is not so much the increase of the regionality of the accent, the slight cockneyness of it, which there is a slight increase of, but not too much. But it's that kind of glottal squeezing that he does to create that rasping effect, which is why he calls it his rough speaking voice. I can't copy it myself, but listen back to the first couple of seconds where he says, "If I had my way, this lot would be out of here, I'm telling you."
If I had my way, this lot would be out of here, I'm telling you.
And he does that glottal squeezing, that rasping sound all the way through, which is why he calls it rough speaking. And now I'm going to play all of his speech in the Channel 4 clip with the beeps removed. This is about 45 seconds worth.
Oh, I know Nigel.
Oh, do you? Right.
Yeah, I met him in a restaurant in London.
Yeah.
About 2 years ago. He's rung me a couple of times, I've texted. I've always been a Tory voter in the Thatcher days. Annoys me big time. They've just become the same as the Labour Party. All they're interested in doing is taking over, changing everyone to be a Muslim. You see, what the Islamics want, and it's horrendous really, it's a cult. I tell you what, if you don't know about Islam, it's the most disgusting cult out. Emphasise illegal, especially if you open the door as a bunch of D11 in all the place near Dover, army recruitment. Get the young recruits there, with guns on the beach, target practice, to shoot them.
Many people have suggested that this is actually his rough speaking voice, i.e. his actor's voice, to support the idea that he's actually playing a part here. It's not really. This is pretty much his normal voice. And I'll play a little bit of that again.
Hello, my name's Andrew Park. I'm an extremely experienced actor. I've been in plenty of films. I've worked with quite a lot of A-listed actors.
So his campaign voice, like in the presentation video, doesn't have any of the rasping effects of his so-called rough speaking voice. In other words, in the Channel 4 video he seems to be using pretty much what is his normal voice, although it's dialed up a little bit because he's speaking enthusiastically compared to in his presentation video, which is obviously dull as dishwater. So for all the ridiculous stereotypes in the Channel 4 video, effing packies, shoot the bastards, this does actually look pretty much like him. Which means, for one thing, that the old Alf Garnett, Bernard Manning types are still out there, which some people might say is refreshing to know. It would also mean that Channel 4 here did get spectacularly unlucky. They infiltrated Reform in order to do a hit piece on Nigel Farage. We've gone undercover inside Nigel Farage's Reform UK campaign in Clacton and found evidence of anti-migrant rhetoric, homophobia and one canvasser making racist and offensive remarks, only for it to emerge that their star turn, who would appear to be a legitimate Alf Garnett stereotype, happens to have a day job which casts so much suspicion on his motives, because as an actor, could he actually be a Channel 4 stooge, that the hit piece is radically diluted as a result with that doubt. This has to be massively frustrating for them. How did our total slam dunk actually manage to miss? And the only other thing they really have on him on Reform was this bloke here.
And homophobia from Farage's inner circle.
You see that degenerate flag on the front bonnet? What the old Bill doing promoting that crap?
The language is indelicate, but does anyone actually disagree? I doubt it.
You see that degenerate flag on the front bonnet? What the old Bill doing promoting that crap?
And in terms of this, what appears to be a genuine Alf Garnett stereotype here, and again I will add a little caveat to that a bit further along, all Farage has to do is say something like, well, I don't know what was actually going on there, maybe we'll never know, but the man at the end of the day is an actor who plays just this kind of part in his acting jobs. Isn't it all a little bit convenient? I don't think he actually needs to walk himself into the lion's den of allegations about Channel 4 actually paying this bloke, which frankly are ludicrous. There is no way that Channel 4 would take the chance of having their channel taken down just for a little hit piece like this, and it would cost Farage an absolute fortune in libel. He doesn't need to walk himself into that particular lion's den of allegations because there is enough weirdness out here in order for him to be able to leave things pretty ambiguous. But he is an actor, and it's all a bit weird, this. And it's a good reminder of the establishment's absolute desperation to skewer Reform, which is no bad thing. I am going to insert a little modicum of doubt here. This is from his TikTok. It's another rant fest, but it doesn't have any of that kind of glottal squeezing that characterises the rough speaking style that he's doing on the video on his website. The following is just a theatrical, expletive-ridden rant. Very expletive-ridden, all of which I've deleted, but just much more subtly and quietly than the incredibly intrusive beeping on the Channel 4 video. The performance here is a lot closer to his Channel 4 outing, and I'm putting it in here to leave open the door of doubt that since his vocal acting clearly has more than one string to its bow, the fact that his Channel 4 speech is not done in his rough speaking voice doesn't necessarily mean that his Channel 4 speech is genuine, and therefore he is a genuine Alf Garnett stereotype, and not just theatrical, because that voice, his Channel 4 voice, is a bit like this voice here, and this voice here is clearly theatrical. That then means that this video now has all the evidence contained with it, but the conclusions are slightly ambiguous. And that's probably the best way, I think, for Farage to leave it.
I've just been watching BBC, which is, as we all know, is a joke, BBC News, and there's some on there whinging because he had to wait to the rate waiting list, the NHS, for his gender reassignment surgery or something like that. I mean, house bells. We've got people who've got serious illnesses, the young, the elderly, and this who all of a sudden decides he's not a bloke anymore, he wants to be a woman, is whinging because he had to wait on a waiting list and it hasn't done his mental health any good? Well, I'll tell you what, it's better for your mental health. Your parents give you a good kick up arse. You done national service for 3 years, and you got yourself a proper job. You don't need the NHS, you need Broadmoor, you. Now stop wasting taxpayers' money. Now, I never had all this bollocks when I was younger.